Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and of course, you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Today, we're going to be talking MLB, a little bit of CFL, kind of getting into that. Um, we had a really solid slate of games last night in MLB. We had a very good chop up inside of the line drive at 5. If you have not been able to be a part of our line drive at 5, that is where once the batting orders come out around 4:30, between 4:30 is to go in and to break it down in the line drive. To really get into it in the line drive where we can, follow where our batter stacks are going to come from, because that's what it's about, man. I'm telling you, everybody is stacking. Nobody is not running out batter stacks that they like. Everybody's stacking. It's a trend that we may not have started it here in the sweatshop, but we made it popular. All of us, for the 4,000 cats on YouTube to the 1,200 that we have in here, it's something that we made popular in NBA, and we continue to make it popular in MLB. It's just what we do, man. We are trendsetters. We are the leader in the indie DFS sites, out of all the indie DFS sites, and we wear that that crown proudly, because we know that a lot of what people are doing now, man, it comes from us, and it's awesome to see. It's good to be a positive part in the DFS community, especially when you have a solid group of guys that just want to keep it honest, man, and tell the truth. We talk about who we're playing. We tell the truth about who we're playing. And if you think about it, all right, today, case in point. Okay, today. So, as you know, today was Wednesday. The homie went to Bible study, so I couldn't really get it in the way I wanted to. I knew I would not be able to be the proprietor of all of these different lineups. So I just did my usual, man. Every day I jump into at least 4 single entry tournaments. The $12 the $12 base hit single entry, that I took that down last week. Okay, I had to take down on that one last week. I entered the Chin Music is a $5 buy-in. I entered the $1, the Daily Dollar single entry, and of course the Pickoff single entry, that's a $3 buy-in. Okay, so Bible study had me where I couldn't really get into a bunch of lineup makings, so I just went with my usual 4. And sometimes I might play the $40 single entry, but usually it's these 4 single entry tournaments. So I make these single entry lineups, and I hadn't made them yet. We went into the line drive at 5. That's where we got to really chop it up. And what we talked about in the line drive were batter stacks that we liked, because we already knew we had the pitching that we liked. I liked Montgomery. I thought he would be a chalky play. I wanted to play him. Okay. I also Nick Pivetta was a guy that was brought up in the shop. Like, this is not just me. Like, this is not just me doing this. This is what we do in the shop. Nick Pivetta was brought up by one of the homies that made great sense for me, and I did. So we were looking at it, and I'm gonna go through some of the other lineups first. All right, this one scored 133. I was on Verlander hard. All day long. I loved Verlander in the spot, and he could have had a lot more points if they had taken him out of the game when they should have. But they did what they always do, leave Verlander in too long. He goes out and loses a few points, and took me out of the money in this particular lineup, right? But as you can see, this is a Minnesota stack. We got Sano, Escobar, Grossman, Dozier. So I found a way to stack Minnesota and the Yankees, who I really liked, and that was the lineup. It didn't cash. Then we had in the base hit single entry, this is a $12 buy-in. I had Manaea Verlander with a Yankee stack that I really liked, and still had some exposure to those Dodger bats that we wanted to play in the late game, as well as the Minnesota bat, Miguel Sano. That lineup didn't cash. Okay, but these are stacks that we talked about. I was like, yo, I like Minnesota. I like the Yankees. I like the Dodgers here. These are my 4 stacks we talked about. The Dodgers here, I had a Dodger stack, only scored 100.85 points. Had Cargo and Blackman in there. I talked about playing 2 guys from the Rockies that I liked. But then, a stack that I really loved, really loved today was the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I didn't love this stack as much until one of the homies playing Nick Pivetta. Because once I saw that Nick Pivetta was playable, and I hated Hoffman all day long. I did not want to play Hoffman. I just felt that this game could see a very huge run total, and I thought it would go more along the lines of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and that's exactly what happened. Now, am I, a genius? No, no, no. That just doesn't. No, that's not what this does. But what happens is when you're in the shop, man, and you're chopping it up with these cats, man, and they come up with these wonderful plays, and they help you to find a crease. Because I knew I wanted to play the Diamondbacks as a stack. I said that all day. I want to play the Diamondbacks. I really want to play the Diamondbacks, but I couldn't see how because they were so pricey. I didn't want to have Tyson Ross. I didn't want to play him. But coming into the shop, man, Cat brings it up. Yo, Nick Pivetta is a play. He's a good play. So I go back and look at the numbers. I see, damn, this dude is right. Nick Pivetta can be a good play. And now at this particular lineup, this one was completely maxed out. This is 50 grand. And my initial thought was to play Pivetta and Verlander. It was Pivetta and Verlander were the two pitchers that I wanted to play because I was on Verlander all day. But that would have put me 100 over the threshold. And usually I hate when that happens because whatever you go down to is not what you really wanted, and it usually doesn't pan out well. Well, today it was Jordan Montgomery, a guy that we kind of liked anyway. Thought he would be fairly chalky, but he would be a decent play. And this lineup took down first place in the pickoff single entry, 197.05 DraftKings points what we had here. So very solid lineup. This is not me. This is not all me. This comes from the shop. This comes from the wise guys that are in here all the time. There's so many people I can't even name, bro. But this is what happens, man, when we rock with each other. And it's a family vibe, and cats don't mind telling me who they're playing, and I don't mind telling cats who I'm playing, because this same lineup, any of them could have played. Anybody could have played it, right? Anybody could have played it. We also had a couple lineups in the early that we rocked out with that were very good. Anybody could have played them. So pay attention to that, man. When you're in the line drive, pay attention to that. Listen to what these cats are saying, man. If you see the guys that chop it up the most, the guys that are really in tune and really involved, listen to those guys, man. They're here for a reason. They're here to help. We all are. So let's go ahead and jump right into tomorrow's slate of games. Of course, we've got 12 on deck in total, but we've got a 12 game all day, of course. Then we've got a 6-game early, a 6-game main. They kind of split it up. The main is going to start at 7:05 with that Cleveland and Baltimore game. But we've got a lot of solid games in the early, and I think we're all really, really, really going to have a good slate tomorrow, especially in the early. So we're going to chop that up, and I'm going to do my very best tomorrow. I'm going to be in the barbershop, but I'm going to do my very best. I have to go outside and sit in a car like I did today and chop it up with you all about the slate before lineups lock. When we get the full lineups, the batters, the batting orders, we can do that. And if you want to be a part of that, man, go to the website, www.dfssweatshop.com. I do a couple of live streams every day. They're going to be coming fast and fierce because now we've got football back at CFL, but it's still football, and I'm going to eat that shit up. We've got NFL popping off in just a minute. The NBA draft is tomorrow. So, it's all systems go for us here in the sweatshop. Let's go ahead and jump into the very first game on the slate. And this is going to be, we're looking for pitching here. This is what we're looking for. We're going to open this up. It's going to be St. Louis Cardinals and the Philadelphia Phillies here. We got Citizen Bank Park on the docket. 0% chance of rain here, 45% humidity in this spot, 4-mile-per-hour wind headed out toward center field with a 63 dew point. And I want to tell you, I use RotoQL because I love the setup. I love the setup. And it's a very decent optimization feature as well. So if you don't have RotoQL, you want to get it, chop it up. It's pretty good, fairly inexpensive. It's like $29 a month, I think. It's pretty decent. It's a lot less than Labs and RotoGrinder, so it's pretty decent. Does the job, okay? If what you're looking for is different ways to make lines, it's pretty decent, okay? It's not as in depth as a couple of the other ones, but it's very good. If you know what we know, you can use this and be fine, okay? So we've got St. Louis Cardinals and the Philadelphia Phillies. We got Carlos Martinez at 13.5 and Aaron Nola at 6.6. Let's go ahead and check over on DraftKings just to make sure that these are the correct pitching prospects that we're going to be using. And I'm sorry, my connection was wrong, but we're all good. All right, so let me make sure we're good here. And we're going to go to the arcade. Excuse me, classic. Excuse me. I can't do the arcade shit. Roto has a great stack option in their optimizer. Yo, Edwin McAdams jumped all over it. I believe Edwin McAdams is a Philly guy, man. It says, give me Nola. So we're going to take a look at that. We got Carlos Martinez and Aaron Nola are both going to be on the mound tomorrow. Martinez, man, 13.5. Pricey for Carmart. I know his last start was fantastic. The one before Baltimore, last time against Philly, 48.25 complete game. I think it was a complete game shutout he pitched against them. Very solid game. 50 DraftKings points. That is awesome. 27 against Baltimore, 18 Cincinnati, 33 against the Dodgers before they really started this hitting streak they've been on, 23, 28. So Carmart has been fairly consistent, and I think on a 6-game slate, he is a guy. Hey Mo, question about liners. Do you have modified liner blades? Nah, I ain't got them. I don't have the. I don't have them. I'm a barber too. This is a barber question. No man, I don't use the modified blade. I'm actually looking for a Slimline Pro Li. If you come across one of those, hit me up. Let's chop it up. All right, so we got Carlos Martinez here. Definitely playable. We know the Phillies can struggle. The Phillies can struggle. We're looking at where they are in K rate, 22.8%. 151 ISO with a 299 WOBA. So this is a team that can struggle against elite pitching. Okay, Q-Dub says Carlos Martinez is 3K cheaper on FanDuel. He's at 10.4, and that's why I love having Q-Dub in the spot, man, because he is more of a FanDuel guy than DraftKings. I think he does play DraftKings too, but he's more of a FanDuel guy. And as I'm going through, he's excellent at chiming in and letting me know key points that I can issue out to our FanDuel players as well, because we play across all sites. Thank you for the homie Q-Dub. So on the other side, we're looking at Aaron Nola here, a guy that does have tremendous upside at that 6.6 price point. You look at the last game against Arizona, that was at home, 8.9. Rudy, the big homie, what's up? Round DFS just jumped out, man. Shout out to Round DFS. 13.65 against St. Louis the last time out, 28 against Atlanta. So this is a guy that does have decent stuff, throws a really solid slider, but man, I mean, I can say right now, Carlos Martinez is going to be fairly high owned on this slate. The 6 games, so that should open up just enough value for people to get him in. I don't think that Nola is going to be a guy that's going to be highly owned. And I want you to take a look at this. Whenever you have one of these A-style pitchers like Carlos Martinez, or he is not up there, of course, with Kershaw's and the Scherzers and those types of guys. But look at those games. Look at those games when a guy pitches lights out. Not only do you see a great game for him a lot of times, most of the time you see a decent game for the opposing pitcher as well, because it's just a game where there's not a lot of runs scored, okay? And I think that if I'm paying half the price or less than half the price of Aaron Nola to be a part of a potentially low-scoring game, that he could possibly get a win in, because you know, Rudy says he likes the Cardinals on the road. I think Nola can be a sneaky play in this spot. I agree with Edwin McAdams here. And looking at it on first glance, you know you're going to get him at fairly low ownership. You know that the Phillies are going to be a underdog in this spot. The money line is already negative 145. They're projected to score 3.9 runs. The Cards projected for 5. The one thing that's going to give me, a cause for concern in this spot is going to be the top of the order for the St. Louis Cardinals. If Matt Carpenter, Dexter Fowler can soften Aaron Nola up, we could see him get into some trouble in some spots. But I think he's worth a flyer. I think he's worth taking a shot on here. Aaron Nola at 6.6, and not to mention I do still like Carlos Martinez at 3.5. That's going to put both of these guys in play for me. Aaron Nola is going to be more in play when I'm trying to get heavy batter stacks and I want to go hard. Carlos Martinez is going to be more in play for me in lineups where I do find enough value to make it work. Okay, the next game we got is going to be the Chicago White Sox and the Minnesota Twins. Let's check and make sure we're still, yes, we are still live. We're still good. Okay, the next game we're going to talk about is going to be the Chicago White Sox and the Minnesota Twins. This game is probable to delay or my wife just walked by naked. Why did she do that? See, that's the see. She's trying to get me to hurry up on the show. She's trying to get me to speed up the show. And that's just not right. Why did you do that? All right, so yeah, man, that's crazy. Don't mess my head all the way up. So this game we got Chicago White Sox and the Minnesota Twins. We've got Jose Quintana at 8.3, Nick Turley at 4.3. I will have no Nick Turley here. Kind of want to, stay away from this game altogether in terms of pitching. Last time I dipped my toe in the Quintana water, man, and it did not work out. No, actually, he did play well. 21.5. Yes, this was against Toronto. I played Quintana against Toronto. It was fairly decent. There was the games before that against Cleveland that I played him and it didn't work out so well. Okay, so I don't think I like Quintana in this spot against Minnesota. Being a lefty, you're gonna see a ton of righty power for those Minnesota Twins here. So Quintana's not a guy that I'm gonna love. Nick Turley is easily a guy that can be shelled, completely shelly at any point. So I've got no issue there. Just make sure. Yeah, Quintana easily a guy. Nick Turley easily a guy that can get shelled in a spot. So I am gonna like some of the righty power from the Chicago White Sox here. I think they bounced back in a major way. We've got a 10-run total here. The only trepidation is you've got to make sure that this game is gonna play, because there's cause for concern here with the weather, and this game is a game that possibly will delay and or rain out. That's the only issue I have with this game. All right, so next game we got is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays and the Texas Rangers. We got Marcus Stroman against Martin Perez. Stroman is at 8.7, and you got Perez here at 5K. Now, the Texas Rangers have been mashing lately, man. Taking a look at what they've been doing, they are 5th in the league in K rate, 24.1%, 177 ISO, 315 WOBA. The lefties are what do it, man. I think at home, batting against right-handed pitchers, the lefties always mash in the spot, and it's going to be tough. Marcus Stroman at 8.7, you're going to get a discount on him because I think he can be a 10K pitcher in a lot of spots. I really think he can. The last game, 15, 25, 13, 19, fairly consistent. Never really going to kill you, but playing him against the Texas Rangers that have been fairly hot in the last few games, it can definitely be a chance taken. Would I? And I want to look at this early slate, and I want to call Marcus Stroman kind of that pivot style play. The guy that if you're not playing Stroman at 8.7, I think you should get some of that lefty power for the Texas Rangers if you're not playing Stroman. Okay, that's kind of my take on it. He's going to be that pivot play for me. If I'm not playing Stroman, I'm going to have some Texas Rangers bats. Okay, now looking at the Toronto Blue Jays against Martin Perez, yo, you can stack Blue Jays tomorrow. I've got no issue there. Next game we got the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Milwaukee Brewers. We got Ivan Nova and Chase Anderson, both pitchers that I really like. See, we've got a lot of mid-level pitchers that I like, which is kind of going to take me off of the Carlos Martinez train. Ivan Nova at 7.4 in Miller Park. A place where ball can get up out of there, so we're not going to want to see a lot of people roster him. 20.95, 24 in his last 2 starts. The guy has really great stuff. Is a very solid pitcher. You look at Chase Anderson, the same deal. He's priced up a bit to 9.4, almost about 2K more than Ivan Nova here. But I definitely think that both pitchers. To me, this game is either going to be crazy, where they just smash a bunch of jacks in it and the run total is crazy and both pitchers look horrible, or I think it can be a duel of sorts, especially on the side of the Pittsburgh Pirates here, because they have a much more solid batting team than you're gonna see from the Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee Brewers, they're home run or bust, man. Look at where they are, 3rd in the league in K rate, 25.1%. The ISO was up to 211 at one point during the season. It has fallen back down to 192, 326 WOBA. You look at what the Pirates do. They are fairly disciplined at the mound. We're checking them out. They're 27th in the league in K rate, 18.9%, 145 ISO with a 310 WOBA. So that is not what you love in terms of power hitting, but these guys just don't strike out a lot, man. And you got guys like Josh Harrison, who continues to get hit by pitches. You got McCutcheon, who's woken up, who loves to bat well in Miller Park. So this could be either a big high scoring game or sort of a pitcher's duel. You know. So I like some Pittsburgh guys here. I'm going to take a couple of shots, being that Ivan Nova is that righty. I'm going to take a couple of shots at some lefty power in this spot. But there's 3 different ways you can play this game, and I like that because that means that gives people other chances to miss. The next game we got is going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. You got Zach Godley and Antonio Senzatella. Now, this is the beautiful thing about this early slate, man, and I always talk about this when, okay, Coarse is on, number 1. So we've got Coarse on. That's number 1. Number 2 is we have a pitcher on the board that is above 13K that I think deserves to be that high priced. Okay? It's not Scherzer. It's not Kershaw. It's not DeGrom, any of those guys. But Carlos Martinez, I think, is deserving of a 13.5 price point on this slate. I'm okay with that. So there's a lure there. There's a lure to Coarse. And I think, you know, you can do well away from both of those aspects. You know what I mean? You can because half of the people are going to want to play Carlos Martinez, and they're not going to be able to get any of Coarse in their lineups. The other half are going to play Coarse and not be able to afford Carlos Martinez, and they're going to have to pay all the way down for pitching. Now we can play the medium role, get the mid-level pitchers to be like, get solid bats that we like. And just, you know, hope that the chalk that will be Arizona, Colorado, or Carlos Martinez doesn't completely wipe us out, right? So looking at Zach Godley here, 7.2. Now they're going to tell you can't play a pitcher in Coarse. You can't play a pitcher in Coarse, and that we know that's just bullshit. We know that you can play a pitcher in Coarse. Usually, what you want to play is the whoever pitcher that wins the game, and it was that's the highest scoring. Brad says that after the embarrassing score, the Rockies are going to be pissed. And you know how I feel about Antonio Senzatella. I am a Senzatella truther. I really am. I like to play Antonio Senzatella. Will I play him in the spot? Probably not. I'm leaning more towards Zach Godley. He's a guy at 7.2, very solid throughout the season. Looking at him away, 21, 14, 21. His worst game of the season was on the road against San Diego, 6.35. And those 3 home starts you see at the bottom to begin his campaign, 23, 26, 15. So Godley is very, very, very good. He's very good. And Senzatella on the other side has been fairly decent throughout the season as well. So, you know, there's a couple of different schools of thought, man. You can just fade this all together. You can play the pitching or you and stack the bats from wherever pitcher you got, or you can play the bats and just try to game stack it. We've got 12 mile per hour wind coming back toward the infield. 90 degrees is going to be a temperature here with a 0% chance of rain. So all systems will be go in Colorado. We're going to check closer back into this once we get into the line drive at 5 and we see the lineups. What really put me on Arizona last night was not that it was in Coarse. It was not that, I'm going to be contrarian and be smarter than everybody. That's not that. When I saw the batting order, when I saw that I finally could play Drury in a 5-man stack, because usually Drury bats 6th or 7th in the order. When I saw that I could play Drury in the 5 hole, right behind Lamb, who was right in front, right behind Goldie, with Peralta and Blanco. When I saw that, that's what made me do it, and that's why the batting orders are so important. So be sure to get with us in the line drive at 5. We're going to be going on to the next game. And this is the last game on the early slate, the Houston Astros and the Oakland Athletics. We got David Paulino at 6.3 and Jesse Hahn at 5.6. You know, Paulino, 21.1 in his last start against Boston, and everybody has been playing well against Boston. All the pitchers play well against Boston for some reason. We've seen them have a couple of decent games lately, but you know, Boston is a dumpster fire, bro. They really are offensively. Offensively, they are. Now, against the Oakland Athletics, man, it seems like the Oakland Athletics stay at home. If I could ever get the Oakland Athletics on the road, I would feel so much more comfortable attacking them. But they play every game at home. I can't get them away from the O, man. I can't get them away from it. And for that reason, you know, I'm not going to be in love with Paulino. I am going to play some of that lefty power from the Oakland Athletics. I don't want to play Jesse Hahn. I don't want to play any pitcher against Houston right now. So it looks like my pitching prospects for the early have kind of, you know, taken shape here. Nola, Carlos Martinez. No, Quintana. Maybe some Stroman is going to be a guy that I like. Of course, I'm looking at both of these guys, Ivan Nova and Chase Anderson, and Zach Godley. So that's going to be my early slate pitcher pool. That's what's that's going to be my the early slate pitcher pool for me. That's what it's going to be. Okay. So next we're going to jump over into the rest of it, the all day. But I do want to roll through these pitchers one more time, really quick with you. These are going to be my early slate pitching player pool. Martinez, Anderson, Stroman, Ivan Nova, Zach Godley. Those are the guys that I'm going to be liking. So let's go ahead and hop it back into the main slate on the night where we have that 6 games. First pitch is going to be going out at 7:05. First game here is going to be the Cleveland Indians and the Baltimore Orioles. We've got 8-mile-per-hour wind going out towards center field in Camden Yards. We know Camden Yards is a infamous hitter's park where guys can really light it up. Mike Clevenger at 5.7 is tantalizing here because we know what happens to the Baltimore Orioles, man. They are 6th in the league in K rate, 23.5% K rate here. 177 ISO is above league average with a 317 WOBA. I think he's going to give up a jack or two, but this dude could really come out and deal and could be in line for the win with how well the Indians have been playing lately. So I'm going to keep Mike Clevenger a part of my thoughts easily. I love the fact that we're going to see Wade Miley, a bum lefty, against a ton of righty power here. Encarnacion, Ramirez, those guys are easily locked into one of my favorite stacks in the main slate. So that's how I'm going to be rocking there. We got the Los Angeles Angels and my New York Yankees. Yo, it is all good. Luis Severino at 12.3, a guy that I can get behind here. I think he's in line for the win. I think the Yankees, while they're at home, I'm just going to be stacking the Yankees. They're going to have that insanely crazy game. And I love the fact that they're not blowing the doors off of everybody right now because they're going to lull you to sleep, man. And when they do, in the Bronx, man, they're going to go ham. And I'm going to have a piece of it when they do because I'm just going to stack them. As long as they're at home, I'm going to have a Yankee stack on deck. We look at Severino here in this spot. 12.3 is the price on him. 12, 31, 20, 27, 33. So the guy is pretty much hit or miss. And I'm not going to go full Severino. I will have him in a lineup, but I'm not going to go full Severino. He's not a guy that I absolutely love in this spot. I really don't. Now, if you wanted to attack Severino, which I could do, I wouldn't attack him with a stack or anything like that. But if I find, a guy like Eric Young at 3.6, if he's going to be batting leadoff or batting in the 9 hole in the wraparound, and the guy leading off is going to be Cameron Maben, I can get behind that. Okay? So next game we got is going to be the Chicago Cubs and the Miami Marlins. Jake Arrieta, 8.2, and Jeff Locke at 4.8. Jeff Locke is cheap as crap, bro. Cheap as crap. That is so cheap for a pitching prospect on a state like this. So let's take a look. 9, 6, 5, 22. It's tough. Actually, I'm gonna tell you something. The Chicago Cubs, they are much better on the road than they are at home. And that's kind of weird because you're thinking Wrigley, the ball will be flying up out of there. But Jake Arrieta, 8.8. Not a guy that I love against the Marlins here at home. We know the Marlins do have lefty power, and they are one of the best teams in the league, lefty-righty. Also have one of the best righty-righty players of the league in Giancarlo Stanton. So I'm not going to be playing Jake Arrieta. I do like some of the Chicago Cubs guys against Jeff Locke. You're going to get a ton of righty power here. You got Rizzo starting off lefty-lefty. That's all good there. You've got cats like Chris Bryant, who if they ever pitch to this dude, he's going to go ham. Ian Happ hit a jack yesterday. So give me some of the Chicago Cubs here, like most people are going to want to do. I don't have an issue there. Next game we got is the San Francisco Giants and the Atlanta Braves. And, I hate San Francisco not being in San Francisco because San Francisco being at home easily gave me a read on who's going to be my pitcher for the day. Easily. Every time San Francisco was at home. And now it seems like they've been in Atlanta for 2 weeks. Now, this game does have a possible chance of delaying or raining out. 7:35 first pitch goes out, so we should know if the game is going to delay, after lineups lock. Excuse me. We should know more about it before lineups lock, but not at lock. So at 7:05, if we find out that the Atlanta Braves are not gonna, this game isn't gonna play, or it's going to delay or whatever, we can make changes up until that 7:35 point. So that's the good thing about this one. We've got Matt Cain and Jaime Garcia. Garcia has been very good in the last well, in a few starts recently. Now 9.35 against Miami, we kind of expected that, but that 24 against the Mets was really solid, and I liked them that day. 14 against Philly, 14 against LA, 25 against the Giants. But remember, that was in AT&T Park. Remember that. This game is in a more hitter-friendly environment, but I like him, man. I think I can play Garcia in this spot. Matt Cain at 4.5 can definitely be attacked here with a lot of the lefties, especially the lefties from the Atlanta order. So I'm not going to be on Matt Cain, but I can get behind some Jaime Garcia. Who else did I say I like that pitcher? Yes, some Severino, no Chavez, some Clevenger. Damn, look, I'm going to be paying down. This game we got is Steven Matz and Hyun-Jin Ryu. Ryu at 7.1, Steven Matz at 6.9. The Dodgers do struggle against lefties. That is a thing, has become a thing. But with this new Dodger order that's just crushing everything. Now, could this be now after the Dodgers go out and they hang up a bunch of runs tonight? Could this be a spot? Could this be a spot where we see the Dodgers kind of come off of that hot streak they're on, facing Steven Matz, who is a very solid left-handed pitcher? 10.95 against Washington. You expect that. 18.15 against Atlanta. In Atlanta, you kind of expect that. So I think Steven Matz can be a play. I really do. I think Steven Matz can be in play against the Dodgers. That'll be completely contrarian. Now, if you want a few guys you can do that with, Ryu at 7.1, another left-hander against a team that does struggle against left-handed hitting. Unfortunately, the Mets are better at hitting on the road, so that's something you want to take into consideration. You got Cespedes here, Wilmer Flores, both guys who are still pissed. They are pissed with Yasiel Puig for his strut when he walked off and hit that jack last night. So that's something that I want you to pay attention to. Grabbing a couple of those right-handed bats from the Mets, they're pissed. They really are. So people should be good here. All right. So I will take a look at Steven Matz. If LB is correct, Alex Wood is 9.1. Let's take a look. Make sure we have the correct guys. No, DraftKings has Hyun-Jin Ryu and Steven Matz. That's on DraftKings. Let's just making sure. Okay. Something could change. If it does, it definitely correct. Correct yourself. Next game we got is Detroit Tigers and the Seattle Mariners. We're looking at this on DraftKings just to be sure these are the right guys that we have. I've got Daniel Norris and Andrew Moore here, and they've got Giovanni Gallardo, so that's wrong. Unless there's a change, that's not what it's going to be. So let's go in. Right? So Daniel Norris in his last start was fairly decent, man, and I put a lot of people on him. I told everybody, yo, I like Daniel Norris. Daniel Norris is playable, and I think he had a fairly decent performance in his last start. 22 points Tampa Bay, and that was more so because Tampa Bay was on the road. They strike out a ton, especially on the road, especially against right-handed pitching. So he was a guy that I liked. Against left-handed pitching, that was a guy that I liked. Because, the strength of the Tampa Bay Rays, batting-wise, is their left-handed power. So I did play Daniel Norris. I don't think I can do that against the Seattle Mariners. I don't. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Giovanni, if it's Wood, let's go. Well, they say on MLB, am I playing golf this week? Yes. Andrew Pierce, ACP, from the 100 Band Clan, just asked me if I'm going to be playing golf this week. Does a bear shit in the woods? Hell yeah, I'm playing golf. I listen to y'all whole show. I'm playing golf this week. Most assuredly, I'm playing golf this week. I'm going to play golf every week that y'all do y'all podcast. I feel like I know what I'm doing, bro. I cashed in the millie. It was a min cash, $50, but I cashed. So I'm rolling with it. As a matter of fact, the two dudes that I picked, is the ones that messed me up. The ones that y'all gave me was great. So, not going to be playing Daniel Norris. Not really loving Giovanni Gallardo. But if Rich Hill is playing, yes. I'm not Rich Hill. If Alex Wood is playing, yes, I would like to get some Alex Wood against the Detroit Tigers here. So let's go over the pitching that I like the most for the main slate. It's going to be Severino, Garcia, Steven Matz, and Mike Clevenger. So with these guys, man, this means I can pay up for just about any bat I want. That's what I want to do. So let's go ahead, man, and kind of shift the focus just a touch as we hop into a little bit of CFL action. Tomorrow, the first game, or tonight, the first game we're going to see is the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Montreal Alouettes. You know, the Montreal Alouettes are a team that I am fairly familiar with because a young man that grew up here in Florence, South Carolina, played baseball for the University of North Carolina, was very good. I don't think the league was ready for that type of player that he was at quarterback, but we see a lot of them now. A guy that was very mobile, could move around in the pocket. Very, very good guy. And his brother actually plays for the Dallas Cowboys. And last year, week 1, his brother got us tickets, man, at our barbershop. Because the guy that owns our barbershop is his first cousin. And he got us tickets out to Dallas. And we enjoyed week 1. Well, I enjoyed week 1 because they're Cowboys fans and I'm Giants fans. And we beat their ass in Dallas. That was great. I felt like I was the only man in the stadium. It was wonderful, and got a chance to chop it up with Justin Durant, and his brother Darian is the quarterback for the Montreal Alouettes. And I'm going to show you a lineup that I came up with. I'm going to show you a lineup that I came up with that I really like. And this is just to give you a brief look at what's happening on some CFL stuff. Darian Durant, the quarterback here, now 19.3 is his fantasy points per game. Tyrell Sutton. This is going to be a stack, honestly. That's what this is. If I can I open this up? I guess if I go to edit, yeah, okay. Yeah, now I approach this the same way that I do NFL, without a doubt. I approach CFL the same way I do NFL. And I like to stack. I like to stack QB, wide receiver, most time QB pass catcher. If the running back is really good and I think that they can like really rake, I can stack there too. I like to stack running back and defense. Well, there's not a lot of teams, not a lot of games. So what I'm gonna be doing, Durant from yeah, man, yeah, he's still playing ball. He's pretty good too. So I've got the Alouettes defense here with Tyrell Sutton, Darian Durant, and I even have Ernest Jackson, the wide receiver. So I have a ton. Yep. I have a ton of exposure to the Alouettes in this spot. Okay. Now there have been some cuts. Casey Matthews, he's here. Casey Matthews is supposed to be live on the show, rocking this out with me. I'm gonna see if I can get him on, and then well, maybe we can do it tomorrow for the next games. Casey Matthews is gonna be coming on with us, and we're gonna be breaking it down. But just to give you a look at our lineups that I made, guys that I like. The Alouettes were pretty much one of the better defenses in the league last year. I think that continues. I do like, of course, Darian Durant matched up with a wide receiver. I'm going to play a running back from that game as well as a defense. I think they can go out and blow them up. So this is going to be good, man. CFL is going to be really dope, and I'm really looking forward to it. Of course, we've got 2 games tomorrow. Excuse me, 1 game tomorrow. Then we got a game on the 23rd, which is Friday. We got the game on Saturday, the game on Sunday. So this is going to be like a 4-day thing. This is going to be a 4-day thing. So we're going to be talking game by game. I'm going to get Casey Matthews on here on tomorrow night's show. And we're going to really chop it up, man, and rock out the rest of the 3 games. So, CFL is a little precursor to NFL. We're going to be diving into that fairly soon as that season gets underway. We went over to the pitching prospects that we like, guys that we're going to be targeting, and then we're going to jump into the first class tomorrow. Yeah, Casey Matthews, bet. Yeah, come on. You're coming on tomorrow. I know you work third shift like me, so we can get it in. I sent you a message, bro, and I thought you would hit me back immediately. I'm sorry about that, but I should have waited a little bit for you. So, oh yeah, yes, yeah. CFL is gonna be nice. We're gonna get it in. So we got solid 12 game all day slate. You can be involved with that. We went over the pitching, talked about some guys that we did like. The number one thing, man, I want y'all to do in the sweatshop, man. If you're on FanDuel, keep it 250. If you're on DraftKings, keep it 200. And if you are a DFS sweatshop member, always keep it 300. Peace.